This is your boy Doc, and this is E, and we're missing one co-host, as you see, Lion. So you're with us in spirit as always. But we have a very special guest today, a good friend of ours who is got a lot of amazing things going on with her. So that's why we have her on the show, so we can talk about it. Some things that are really positive and I think will be beneficial to our viewers. Ashley Haley. So Ashley, thank you for joining us today on the PlayBook.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for letting me be here this evening.
Thank you for being here.
All right.
So Ashley, tell us. We'll jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and specifically, like I said, we have a lot of things in common, but she's got a very diverse background. But she's primarily focused on you have a new business that. Tell us about that.
Well, I guess I'm just a movement artist. How about that?
I like it.
I named my company Ashley Haley Move. Because I just really believe that everything that is important in life is revolved around movement. And I'm a personal trainer. I'm a lifestylist. What is that? I couldn't come up with a better name. I'm an actual stylist. I'm a cosmetologist. I'm a makeup artist. I am a mindset coach. I am a movement coach and an embodiment coach.
See, nice. I like
That's
it.
dope.
Yeah.
And so the most important thing that I do with people is get them to be in their essence.
I like that because that sounds like where we all need to be. You know what I mean?
That is where we need to be.
So yeah, I know a common theme with us on the show and the connections between us, like E and I and Lion, is dance. That's how we all met, and I think that's how two of us met our spouses. As a matter of fact, me like way before these guys were born or something. I don't know, 25 years ago.
Maybe 3. We'll see.
Yeah, and then maybe Lion as well. We'll see. But we're just putting that out there, Lion. While you're not here, we're talking about maybe somebody will tie you down from the scene. But yeah, so Ashley and I, like I said, fitness is, martial arts, fitness, dance has been a way of life, and we talk, and when we get together, we have a lot of good discussions about, like, Ashley's also a yogi. I know I've seen you do some aerial stuff and some pulse. Like, really, I'm not just pumping her up. It's just thankful to have so many amazing, fantastic guests. She's just really, really talented in a lot of areas. Pole dancing, not like in the strip club you purrs, but some there too. Pole dancing is such an amazing,
very difficult
art form. Yeah, it requires such a level of athleticism and flexibility and strength and grace. I have a good friend actually who is from Singapore that I actually was able to catch up with. Last time I went to visit, but I met her at the LA Salsa Congress, and she was a professional salsero, danced with a dance company from Singapore, and she had an injury, and so she started doing pole, and that's kind of when I started paying more attention to it, and it's like I said, it's an amazing talent to have, amazing athletic skill set.
It's hard.
Yeah, because I've grabbed a pole and swung around on it and tried to do a couple moves, and even with all my martial arts stuff and my core strength, I don't know that I would have been getting an encore gig. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Make the cut.
Right. I don't know. I would have to rely on my twerk skills to basically to cover the gap in my pulse. Because I'd be like, okay, wait a minute, let's just twerk. But so a couple of interesting things I wanted to ask you about. Besides all the other fitness athletic endeavors that you have going on. Sounds like your mom and I had kind of a lot in common in that, like, doesn't she have a background in psychology?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mom was a psychotherapist, marriage and family, and addiction specialist.
Wow.
And something you don't know about her, she was a singer-songwriter.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and
super talented.
She's very talented. That was a hard pair of shoes to step into.
Can you sing?
I could sing a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I was in choir, but I think it's just because I could carry a tune. I will not be soloing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's cool. But I mean, that's interesting because my doctorate is in psychology, and I also like to engage in the right brain activities of dance and whatever. Like I said, I would be a singer if I could sing. Now, I can carry a tune if I have to, because he's been with me on a cruise ship where I shut it down in front of like about
Oh,
5,000
wow.
people.
He
I
really
sang
did.
Prince. Yeah,
He
yeah.
sang Prince in front of those 3 decks in the atrium. The host gave him the microphone on the Prince solo, and he sang
Well,
it,
then you can
did a
sing.
dance, and it was a standing encore, 3 levels up. It was insane.
It was fun. I channeled my older. I used to tell Uhuru that when I was younger, I had this falsetto till my voice changed, and I didn't have my. You know how guys go through puberty and sometimes their voice cracks and stuff. I didn't have that. I just all of a sudden couldn't sing the way I could before it
Right.
changed. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I channeled my inner child and my falsetto, and then but
you sang it falsetto.
Oh, I say, yeah, it was Purple Rain. So I hit the Prince falsetto. Yeah, but I also intermingled that with some gyrations and some body rolls, so that helped out too. You know,
Body
yeah,
rolls
yeah.
always help.
Right, exactly. So you know,
He got the party started for sure.
it was great. So, but yeah, so your mom. It's interesting that your mom was a singer of that level, and so you also have a very interesting father. So tell us about your dad a little bit.
Big Papa is he was a football player for the Houston Oilers, and then he always was a bodybuilder. I mean, to the next level. Beautiful. He never competed, but he just kept his physique. And now he's 80 years old, and he's a strict carnivore. And
Really?
he still is at the gym every day for 2 hours.
That's incredible.
Well, I believe. I mean, I didn't
That's
realize
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that you were closer to the age that I am that I thought you were. Yeah, because you are still killing it. You are always jacked, always fit, ripped up. You know, so you're not just you're walking the walk as well. It's clear, it's evident. You know, because like you guys maybe can't see it because she's wearing black and she's a little bit covered up. But if you find her, we'll tell you where to find her on Instagram and all her socials and stuff like that too. Check out the physique when she's got the guns out or when she's rocking the pole. She's ripped, jacked. So it's impressive. Yeah.
Thank you.
So tell me about your fitness journey. So
Yeah.
obviously you're influenced by your dad. I'm just guessing. How did that turn into you being a coach?
I think it was, you know how you're kind of born to do things, right?
Right. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Both of you
Yeah. 100%.
right? When I was 6 years old, well, first when I was about 2, he'd taken me to a day parade. It was called Up with People, and he couldn't find me. I was up with people on the stage in the parade, and that was it. My dad said from that moment on, I was always moving, dancing, singing, and wanting to be with people to get them to do it too.
Right.
That was the big one. So I remember really well, 6 years old in kindergarten, and we were out at recess, and I love me some recess.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
most
and
definitely.
I'm like, what are we all going to do? And the kids kind of would look to me like, okay, we're going to play something because I was really good at sports or whatever. And I found a whistle on the ground. And that was it. I blew that thing, and that was it. I'm Coach Ashley. What are we going to do? We're going to round up. We're going to play this. We're going to do that. And that's, I think, was the beginning of that. So we went on into talent shows. Remember those?
I do.
And I decided that I was better at coaching the kids in the talent show as I was a kid in the talent show.
Visionary.
And
Right.
So I started to help the other kids in the talent show, and one of them went on to be a famous singer and is still working in Vegas. And I remember taking her off to the side, and I coached her onto how to present on the stage, and she said that changed her life that day.
Wow.
We were all but like 10 years old.
Wow. That's insane.
So it's kind of a natural thing, right?
Right.
And then we did this thing. I took dance all throughout my childhood. And then at 13, I moved to Tampa, Florida, and took me away from my tribe, my friends, my dance. And
Where did you move from?
I moved from San Clemente, California.
Okay, so a much more artistic. Now Tampa's grown a lot, but and we
This
have
was
a
in the
decent
80s.
performer. Yeah, so I can imagine there was not much arts.
I was very upset.
Yeah, you came from California, which is a
I have
very
to walk back
It was
into
way
time.
different in the 80s. Yeah.
yeah.
Into time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you just took me into the dark ages.
Oh yeah.
So that's when I quit dancing.
Okay.
You know?
What genre of dance were you primarily
I
fond of?
liked modern dance and jazz
Modern-
dance and contemporary dance.
Okay. So that's we're gonna get you now, as we've talked about it, into the salsa scene.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because I think you'll love it, and the scene's pretty good here in Tampa, but in Florida in general. So it's a good place for you to be able to dance and get your express,
Yeah.
and then and connect with some good people here. It's a couple of good dance studios. We talked about Uroku, Denise
Yeah.
and Ernesto, Tato Salsa, good friend of mine, Juan Tato, and his wife Christina. That's another great dance studio. So yeah, we're definitely going to get you linked up with some good people here to dance. And I think you'll love it. But yeah, so in addition to dance, I know that you recently just came. You're out of the country for a while because I know we were we were connected and we were seeing each other and doing some stuff or whatever. And we reconnected again at Elena's wedding. We're gonna definitely a mutual friend of ours, Elena. She is an energy medicine practitioner and doctor. Amazing.
Amazing.
I was not as much of a believer. We're gonna have her on an episode too, but I was not as much of a believer till I met her and then was a patient. And I was like, yo, this is spot on. Because I'd go see Elena, not to digress, and I'd have her, check me for stuff. And I would go to, my primary care guy, and he'd run an MRI or CAT scan or some tests, and it would come out to be the exact same thing that she said it was without, And I'm like, wow. It's too many times for it to be coincidental. So she's a real deal. But anyway, so
She's a good friend of mine.
they're
There we
great
go.
friends, and Uhuru and her are great friends. And so she got married, and we were all at her wedding. And I hadn't seen Ashley in a while, and we were connected, there, and that was great. But like you had been gone out of the country for a while, that you just kind of decided to pop smoke and leave. So tell us about that. Where'd you?
Well, what a catalyst was, I started my own fitness inside the house. That's how I met your wife. And I was a yoga instructor since 2007 in Tampa, and I wanted to grow. And so I decided to go back to get another certification in personal training in 2013 because I'd felt I was missing some things in yoga and the foundational parts of our body and our movement and functional movement. And that just opened up a whole other new can of worms to study. So what's the best place to do that is to open up your own facility in your house.
Right.
Just in your garage, which is crazy. So I had women come to my house for 6 years.
Wow.
4 to 5 days a week for 5 hours a day. And I'm talking, I had women in the bathroom. Someone was in my bedroom. Someone was in the garage. Someone was crying and it was unbelievable. And I burn out after that.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. And I, in that burnout process, I wanted to see, well, where can I go from here? And
Right.
how can I grow? Right? That's what we all do right before we burn out. And I knew that there were some things that I was missing for me on a spiritual level, and parts of me that I felt I needed to grow up. So what other better way than to yank everything away from yourself and throw yourself into the military, throw yourself into combat, throw yourself in, right?
Right.
I mean, so I decided to throw myself into Bali.
Oh, wow. You went to Bali.
I went to Bali.
Okay.
So I sold the house, sold everything.
I'm out.
Put it all in storage. And I knew this was right after Trump this is 2018, 2016 is when he came in. I was just, the world was starting to move and shift.
Right.
And I knew it and I could feel it. My intuition said, if you don't get out now, something weird's going to happen. And guess what it did? COVID. So I caught it. I really went on my instinct, and I would love to tell everybody to do that. When you get a draw and a pull and this thing, and you have no other choice, like it's in you. Inside me, there was no going back. So I went to Bali and learned how to be a human in a different way.
That's amazing. And what you're saying about your gut instinct, a lot of my friends and family, like I've always relied heavily on my gut. I trusted it because you have to, sometimes, people aren't listening to the right voice, or they're not honed in, and it's just paranoia, or there are external variables impacting them. But I have so many examples of my instinct saving my life in combat, in the criminal drug cases that we worked and decisions we made where the evidence, the data was pointing in one direction, but like something in my gut was like screaming, don't do that. And conversely, so many positive things have happened as a result, like you're saying, I'm thankful to be at a place like in my emotional, spiritual development where I can trust my instinct, because that, like, God gave us that, and it works. It's real if you learn how to pay attention to it and listen to it and trust it, you know? So yeah, that's pretty cool because Bali's, I think we're going to try to get there this year to hang out. We'll let the touch base with you to get all the about the best places to hang out. But yeah, that's amazing.
So tell me, you're in amazing shape right now. You're a fitness coach. A lot of people are my age, getting older, lifestyle's changing. They're fighting fitness, and they're having struggles with it. Did you ever experience that? What do you say to people that go through that? What's your tip?
So I like to teach people or guide people on that exact thing.
Okay.
So people think that, they need to come to me and they need to be looking like me. They need to be in the same shape. They need to do what I'm doing. And that is all just bull. This is every single body and every single person is different. And it really needs to be personalized and designed around that person's being. So if they're frustrated and they're having a really hard time with exercise, we have to pull it back, and definitely don't slam yourself into the gym 5 days a week if you're aggravated and fighting that. We have to figure out what it is that you like. And most of the time, what I do is I play with that person like a kid.
Okay.
Like we're back at recess.
Okay.
And I find out what they naturally do with their body. So we'll have a session. Maybe we're going to do some weights, or we're going to do a little bit of movement. I might figure out that, they had martial arts background, but they haven't done it since they were 10 years old. And so I start playing around with this martial arts movement, and all of a sudden they are so eager to start to move again. It's like I turned a light bulb on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's the gift of any trainer, is finding where they're happy, where their homeostasis is, and where their happy place is in their body, like a child.
I love that. I agree with you 100%. I love that. I guess I hadn't heard it expressed like that, because, I was just talking to somebody at the golf course. I'm a decent golfer, depending on what day you ask me, It's my final frontier in sports. I grew up playing a lot of other sports, the first being martial arts, but, some other stuff, the basketball, football, whatever. But golf is my nemesis because I have zero aptitude for it. Anytime I'm playing well, it's because I worked my butt off like my life depended on it, because I'm not, and it's just very hard. But because I'm a nerd about wanting to be good at things, I've learned everything I could about the golf swing and the fundamentals. And because I taught dance and martial arts and and other things, I understand also instruction. And we're just where I'm going with this is that we're just talking. I helped this guy this other day with something in his golf swing, and he was like, "Oh, I've been taking lessons with this pro," and he didn't notice that, right? And I said, "Well, I'm not a better golfer than your pro for sure." I said, "But basically coinciding with what you said, what I do understand though is to know my audience."
Right.
And if I'm teaching 10 people or 20 people how to hit center mass where people are going to understand, or if it's one person, so many people are good at something, but they don't understand how to connect with that person the way they learn. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you said, or where's that person? Because you can tell somebody something 4 different ways, and it's the fourth way that goes,
that's it.
Oh, that's
right.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think that what you're saying about that, even on a deeper, more intrinsic level, is just so critical about finding what it is in that person that's and to get them back in motion. That was a great question, because that's something that I think because a lot of times people, I'm pretty decent shape. I just turned 58, and one of my
really good shape.
Thanks. And I posted one of my pictures was my shirt off, blazer picture on in front, the green loud green sparkly sequin blazer in front of the Lambo. My humble brag, because I knew I was looking pretty decent when I took the photo. But I get a lot of people that ask me about fitness and stuff like that. And I was like, for me, it's been a lifetime commitment, Mm-hmm. But what you're saying, I remember getting in a debate at the first Toronto Salsa Congress. There was a girl that was messing with me because we're dancing at these congresses all day and all night till 5 and 6 in the morning. And I was going to the gym. And she said, "Why are you going to the gym?" She said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to lift and I'm going to do cardio." Nice. And she said, "Well, why are you doing cardio?" Because you are going to get cardio here. And that was when I was all military still and hardcore. And I was like, "That's bullshit. That's what," and I do some expletives. And I was like, "That doesn't count. That's fun, right?" I'm like, so I'm going to do my workout 4 or 5 days a week, and I'll still get the extra benefit from the calories. But as I got older and, more wise, you do realize how many things that can be fun and active in your life that are actually advantageous to your fitness without you having to jump on it, like if you like we have the gym in the house, without jumping on a treadmill or an elliptical trainer and cranking out 30 or 45 minutes and then like grinding out the weights. I'm gonna always do that. But like the key is there's so many things that we can do that people love to do that you're gonna have a passion about or an interest that's not gonna feel like work, that will help keep you in great shape.
That's it.
Because the body in motion stays in motion.
That's
it. Yeah, and
and she has it in the name.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. Move. Shoot.
Just move.
That's right. I love that. So, yeah. So,
what's one of the craziest things that you saw in Bali? Like, how was the adjustment, culture shift?
It was crazy.
Just moving over there.
It was crazy.
Because they got like,
I loved it.
Forgive me, Bali is amazing, but I think at one of the resorts on TikTok they showed a video of a boa in the
snake. I knew you were going to say something. Yeah. And he doesn't like snakes.
That would be the worst.
I've never seen that.
Yeah,
but I have seen people with a pet snake in Bali just hanging out.
No.
So in Bali, you can do whatever you want, pretty much, which is really, and it's hedonistic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a utopia. I mean, it's amazing.
Going to visit Bali this year.
The coolest thing I've seen in Bali was, well, there were a couple of different things, but the coolest is having an idea, like what we're doing right here. Mm-hmm. And then explaining it to someone in Indonesia and saying, okay, now we need to build like a building for it. And that thing is done in 2 weeks.
What was your favorite part about being there that you missed when you left and came back to the States?
The community is so supportive. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I'm hanging out with Brazilians, Italians, Spanish, Australians, the Indonesians, all of us on a daily basis. We would all find ourselves at the same gyms. We were all doing the cold plunge saunas. That was all part of the culture there. The food was incredible. I could eat the way I needed to, as clean as I needed to.
Right.
There are no drugs in the area at all. So
right, because they don't play, just like not unlike the Emirates or Singapore. Yeah.
You're gone.
You're going to jail. Yeah. But you know what? We talked about this, and that can be another episode we can bring you back on. We're talking about personal travel because you have some experience with that. Like it's different when you're flying on your own plane because I've done that a few times corporate and then when I was working on the detail, the boss had a G550 and a G6 at some point in time. And I remember one time I was going to, like, if you're going to Brazil, it can be a lengthy trip unless you're on a jet that you fly directly from Andrews Air Force Base or wherever to Brazil. Yeah. And I remember one time I went to, I think it was Guantanamo for a mission. We'll just leave it there. In Cuba. And I was, my boy Shaka, shout out to Shaka and the DC Salsa Congress, which is coming up in June. We're going to talk to you while we're there, Shaka. We actually I was dancing with Klavakazi with my dance company, and I told Shaka and those guys, I was like, yeah, I'm going on a mission, and I was always, going on missions. Can't tell you where I'm going or where I'm coming till I'm coming back because it's classified, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times I'd be gone for, a few days, a week, a couple weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. And I said I was going on a mission, and whatever, but I was like, I should be back in time for rehearsal, and I was like, and he was when I got back and after the mission's over, I told him where I went. And he was like, and it was like, I was gone for like half the day and that was it, and he's like, where'd you go? And I was like, Cuba. And he was like, dude, you're back already with all the, the way you, and so I was, I wasn't flying commercial. I jumped on a plane.
You're there in an hour.
Yeah. I jumped on a plane and we went straight there and did what we needed to do. And
so you
go there for lunch and come back.
Yep. You're right.
You have experience with private flying. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Well, I've flown around the world 2 times. I've been to, I did how many trips? 7 countries, 7 or 8 countries in one trip.
Damn.
Wow, that's like a swing for special agents on the detail.
It was
that's
so fun and fast. So each country was like 3 days. Like you're talking, we just come in, go swoop in, have some lunch, do a little sleep, do a little check out the whole area, and then jump onto to the next place. And having your own plane like that too, if we decided, you know what, Turkey is just not really feeling like that today, we're just going to go to Greece instead. So then you just call up the pilots and they refigure and you're going to the next place. And it's really crazy to be able to have that leisure, right?
Wow.
And
It's
that
also
liberty.
it's also expensive as heck though. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
that wasn't my dime.
Right.
That was not my dime. That was my stepfather's dime.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Stepdad. Shout out, represent,
Boss.
bro.
Thank God.
Yeah. Cause see, he's working on building his empire, and somewhere in his
want a plane?
he wants a plane, and I'm telling
want a
him.
plane.
I don't want him to have a plane because I know how much they cost
They're
to
so
maintain.
ridiculous.
I'm like,
what Vision? That's what it is. The Series Vision jet, highly affordable. You still
Highly affordable.
Yeah, hey, they made it the affordable plane. It seats 7. 2 of them have to be
Yeah.
kids.
You don't stand.
Yeah, fly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it has a bathroom. It has a big screen TV. Owner operated. Blah blah blah. $1 to $3 million. You get it a little bit less used. Operational. They say. I think it's. I forget.
it's like a boat. Everybody wants
Yeah.
to have
It's
a
like a
friend with
boat.
one,
Yeah.
but not own one. Yeah, but you know what? If he wants a jet, I'm supporting him. I'm riding with my boy.
There you go.
And I don't think I won't
flying
fly with
out.
him. I was gonna say we'll ride. I'll ride. Yeah, so. I know we have talked about a lot of stuff today, and I just want to thank you for coming and spending this time with us today, Ashley.
Yes, thank you.
Before we go, is there anything else you want to ask? We want to make sure people know where they can find you, though.
Yeah, we're going to put that up. That's already been up. We're going to put it up again. But hey, I like what you said about fitness. I love your commitment with fitness. You got to check out her Instagram. I was looking at it. Really amazing. Like the stuff that you're doing is inspiring.
It definitely is.
Yeah, it's-
Definitely is.
It's like
Right.
I need to get back in the gym. So
And I think that might be why Lion tapped out, because I told him, I maybe joked and said, hey, we have Ashley coming. She's a personal trainer and a yogi and some other stuff. We may be going to check out your strength, core, flexibility, and stuff like that. Wear some sweatpants, and then all of a sudden he had an issue.
so
It's about your essence. It's
That's
not
right.
about your fitness. It's your essence.
Right. See, I like it. See, she took the, holistic intrinsic approach where I was going drill sergeant on you. So there you go. That's why her,
it's two
her
different
approach is more
approaches right
effective.
here.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. So the yin and yang, but that's why, we balance each other out, keep the universe working right.
That's right.
But you want to take us home, E?
Hey, we got a new episode coming up soon after this. Make sure you check it out. It'll be linked to it. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us. This is The Playbook. We'll catch you next time.